Hi, I'm Kelly with Team Wise Guys, and this is my Ginyu yellow build. Alright, so first I'm going to talk about my leader and the reasons why I chose him. First off, he can deal himself damage. Uh, you get a transform on command, which is like quintessential currently, at least in my local meta. I don't know about your guys's, but I got tired of people leaving me on 5 life and building up their resources before they go after me. Ginyu, his ability reads that on your turn you can reveal a card from your life, and if it's a Ginyu force that's not Ginyu, you can put it into play for free. So he's also a source of free and cheap beaters. It does add an element of strategy to your mulligans in your opening hand if you have anything with Ginyu Force. Even if you kind of want to play it, you mulligan it because you want them in your prize pool. First off, I'm going to start with the one cast, work my way up the mana curve. I start out with a 4 Goldo. He's really good at exhausting combo pieces that they have in the battle card zone late game, but also he's just a cheap blocker that can come in for free off of Ginyu's ability. The more value we can get out of him, the better off. Next one cast we have is Sorbet, the Loyal Commander. He's also a one cast blocker, but he does not come into play for free off of your leader's ability. He can be searched with a card I'll show you if you don't already know it, Freeze's Call. You'll see that in a few cards. He's tutorable, he's a blocker, and he can add extra combo pieces off the top of your deck. His ability lets you put a card from your hand into the drop zone and reveal the top 2 cards of your deck and add to your combo a Freeze's Army card. It pulls off Dodoria, which is your Piccolo of the deck. He's a staple. I've gone between 3 and 4 multiple times. You can put your preference. I would rather see Ginyu force people in my prize zones, so I keep whittling him back down to 3. Avenging Frieza, he's a one cast Frieza's Army. You can also evolve your higher cast Friezas off of him, but he's a cantrip. He's got an auto reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, put a Frieza's Army from those 3 into your hand. You will whiff on this card occasionally because it's only the top 3. It's not as good as Goku or Broly, but it's still a form of card advantage early game in yellow, which we need. Next off, we have Frieza's Call. It's mandatory 4 of in any yellow deck, if you ask my opinion. It's a one cast tutor. I typically search up Sorbet or a 2-drop Frieza's Army that I'll show you the next 2 cards. They're my preference, and I'll go into details on those in a second. These are the main cards I search for in the deck. This guy and Sui. People call them vanillas, but they're not. They have the Frieza's Army keyword, so they're 10 times better than any of the other colors vanillas because you can search for them turn 1 off Frieza's Call. I'm not going to waste your time, just 4 of him as well. Dodoria, he's just as good as the other cards in this cycle of, blue, red, and green. But it's arguably better because it's got the Frieza's Army keyword, so it has all the uses that the other colors have, plus more. It triggers off Sorbet, which is extremely important. I try not to play any of the 2-drops for 10,000 from hand because the other ones are just arguably better. The same argument goes for Birder as it does Raccoon. Once again, I try not to play him if I have the other options, but if I had to play one of the Ginyu 2-drops, it would be Birder just because I could put pressure and still not have him attacked. I'm in a love-hate relationship with Jace because on one hand he's a 2-for-1 if you're lucky, but most of the time you will have a 2-cast and a 1-cast in your hand, so you don't need to risk whiffing off of his ability when you can just play the more aggressive cards in your hand. I find myself charging Jace a lot. I think this is one of the best cards in the game right now. It's more so in this deck because you will have so many people out in play to put pressure on your opponent's leader. Oftentimes they will hold their negates for your last few attacks. So if they're at 2 life or less, you just have to swing, swing, swing. The moment one gets through, you throw Furthering Destruction out, and then the rest of your hand, and in the game. Frieza's another game ender here. His auto on this card is amazing. And the most important part, the double strike clause, is a separate sentence. So unless my judge is just way off, the turn you play it, you get dual attack, double strike. It is a game ender. And most of the time, the game ends with this deck on turn 4. So he fits perfectly into the curve, into the deck's theme. He's Frieza's army. He's just made for this deck. If I had 2 more of this Mecha Frieza, I'd play it. I like it just as much as the other one. What this card does is it lets you look at your opponent's hand, see if they have any negates before you even attack. He's double strike, so he can put just as much pressure as your leader to end the game when they're at 2 life. And you also get to pull a combo piece out. A lot of times you'll pull out their Jackos or their Piccolos or their Dodorias or whatever color they're running to make them -1. And then if you're playing defensively, which most of the time you won't be, you can pull one of those cards out of their hand and then attack it to basically discard a card from their hand. I find myself charging this card a lot. It's good, that's why it's in the deck, but the moment I get 2 more of the Clan of Terrors, I'm cutting 2 of these for that, and instead of just running 1, I'll probably just go to a permanent 4 of Sorbet. I'm in a love-hate relationship with this card. I don't play it as much as the other ones, but it's easy energy in the deck, and it's still the option. But if I was to cut anything for some text, it would be this card. I've tried using King Cold in this build, and it's good if you need it. Just like this Hellish Terror, it's an option that you don't have to use. But with how aggressive this deck is, that evolve option goes a lot further most of the times.